The day has finally arrived, as right now you can download what is effectively an entirely new Fallout game totally for free, because Fallout London has released. I was able to play several hours of the mod, and oh boy, do I have some thoughts on this one. Fallout London isn't really like any of the other mods we have gotten for Fallout 4 thus far, because this one is a genuine new game-sized overhaul mod that will just completely take over your Fallout 4. It's one of the few total conversion mods for this game, although unfortunately, due to the scale of this one, along with some lingering issues that Bethesda hasn't resolved, some users are having some problems getting into Fallout London, so we'll also go over all of that and even some potential remedies. Because when you do get in, this is easily one of the most unique experiences you can have with Fallout 4 modding. But first, I need to tell you about something special. A one-of-a-kind game with stunning visuals that you can play on PC or even take on the go, and this game even has millions of players. And that is today's video sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. And right now is the perfect time to jump back in, as one of Raid's strongest ever champions is back, as you can get the Shadowkin Ninja totally for free. But you gotta act fast. Ninja is only back until August 20th, so download Raid and use code Ninja Returns to get the champion with some extra items. And returning players can get Ninja too. Just make sure to use my link to download Raid. But hey, if even that isn't enough to get you into Raid, what about a VR headset? After all of you new players download Raid, head to this website and enter to win a VR headset, handheld gaming console, or even a drone. The top 12 submissions win, and there are even some Amazon gift cards in there as well. For me, Raid is that perfect game where you can play when you just have a few minutes or even a few hours to spend gaming. So stop waiting. Use my link down below or scan the QR code on screen, and since you watched this video, I'll hook you up with some great bonuses. On sign up, you'll instantly get the epic champion Tag Gore, and at level 15, you'll get the epic high elf Tyrell. And hey, if you want to win, come join my clan. But jumping into Fallout London, I'll first talk about some of my initial impressions after spending several hours experiencing this one. As Fallout London is simply unlike any other mod I've ever played for Fallout 4. Because going into this one, you genuinely feel like you're playing a new Fallout game. Immediately after installing, and yes, we'll go over how all of that works a bit later in this video, but immediately after installing, Fallout London will take over your Fallout 4, giving you a new main menu, a new world to explore upon starting a new game. It's not like you have to transport yourself out of Fallout 4's Commonwealth. No, you're just in London, but also a ton of small details like icons, sounds, and really a bunch of sounds, and even fonts are completely distinct with Fallout London compared to Fallout 4 and even prior Fallouts. And just right off the bat, this is one of the big things that this mod gets right. It still feels like Fallout, but very much so a foreign Fallout. You begin the game in this mysterious lab, and of course, some stuff goes down, allowing you to escape, but you're left with more questions than answers, just like many of the other Fallout game intros. You're truly a blank slate. There's literally nothing known about you, and you can't remember anything. You just wake up in this lab. But all along the way, this is still Fallout with a twist. There's a new font as well as new music for all of the menus, which is a really nice touch. There's no Vault Boy here, as instead you have the Attaboy. And you can even find how this mysterious organization that you'll likely learn a lot more about as you complete this main story was reverse engineering Pip-Boys to create their own variant of the Pip-Boy. And as you play Fallout London, you'll notice a ton of small details all throughout that just feel like edits to Fallout. Yeah, the terminals are functionally identical, but visually they're completely distinct and even have a bunch of new sounds. The Fallout London team made so many small edits throughout the entirety of this experience that it creates a really special feel. Fallout London still very much so feels like Fallout, but you definitely won't be confusing this with an American Fallout. And some of the edits you'll notice from this mod aren't quite as subtle. Building out your character works a bit differently here. Traits are back for London, as well as several new perks you can choose from, and many of these are quite relevant. The traits have some strong effects, and even in the early game, skill checks are found all over. How you build out your character seems to have a pretty large impact on your overall experience with this mod. I wouldn't be shocked if on subsequent playthroughs, different build paths could actually lead to some pretty distinct outcomes. As you escape the intro segment and break into the world, things look completely different. This is a far more urban locale compared to many of the other Fallout games, and even things like foliage and some of the weathers are distinct for London. Some of the storms are definitely going to pack a bit of a bigger punch compared to vanilla Fallout 4. But perhaps the biggest change up of all will be around combat, because in my experience so far, Fallout London is definitely a tougher early game experience that relies far more heavily on melee. The weapons overall are totally distinct. You won't find the early game 10mm pistol just like you did in basically every other Fallout game, Some of these are familiar weapon mods that you could already download for Fallout 4 just being repurposed, but some of this content is totally new, and a major component of all of this is Fallout London has a much larger focus on melee. Lots of enemies use melee weapons, and overall it felt like guns and ammo were a lot more sparse in London. I found I had to be way more conservative with my ammo, and when you had a bunch of minor creatures run up, I was almost always switching to melee instead because I had to preserve the bullets I had left. It's not like I'm playing on survival here, this is just a normal difficulty. And even some other details like creatures and factions are totally unique to London. You're going to experience a whole set of new creatures as well as new factions that you've never seen before. So right off the bat, I would say this is a pretty magical experience. Even before you get into some of the quest and story content, Fallout London truly makes it feel like you're stepping into a different Fallout world. And that is due to the sheer amount of work done by this team, as the amount of details and non-reused assets are incredibly impressive for this mod. But Fallout London also does a great job at opening up this immense world to you right off the bat. After this intro sequence, you are thrown into the center of London. And from what I could tell, you could just do whatever you wanted at this point. You begin the game with some ailments, so you must find a doctor to fix them. That's kind of your main motivation to get into the main quest. But even in this base game story, you're immediately given two very distinct paths on how to locate that doctor. Like the game opens up with saying, hey, you can go left or right to start this main story, or just go backwards or straight. All of those are optional paths to you. This is an open world, and it very much so felt like you could just start adventuring in whichever direction you wanted to and begin exploring, because yeah, there's definitely some interesting stuff to find here. In my several initial hours, I began each side of that first main story. You'll meet these two very distinct groups, but also find some hilarious stuff in between. Like while I was adventuring and exploring, I found the real-life Fallout London dev team begging for workers' rights from their evil overlord. This is one of the side quests I uncovered, and hopefully this doesn't end up being some controversial thing in the future, as the team hopefully is treated relatively well. Just near that, I found a dog companion of my own, which is honestly quite handy. And even just this initial interaction was hilarious. It completely caught me off guard.
Me? I've done nothing wrong. Me bloody dogs are dead because of you. Those dogs were mine. Churchill and the others. Some were strays, maybe. But mine, I fed them every day.
You're able to explore the world-famous Fesco stores in London. Overall, Fallout London definitely had a ton of references, although as an American, I was missing a ton of those. And just generally, adventuring around and finding enemies, Easter eggs, and more really impressed me. The map of Fallout London feels very much so on par with the proper Fallout game. Like yeah, they could have all of these locations, but as you're actually exploring around, it felt like there was depth and a lot of different interiors to go into. Even after several hours of gameplay, I felt like I barely touched the surface, both on the questing side, but also on the exploration side, and really way more on the exploration side. Some of the most iconic landmarks from London are recreated for this mod, and generally exploring around these streets felt like something you could spend hours doing. Like even if there's nothing to find, it just kind of is a cool art piece of a post-apocalyptic London that looks really good. There is a certain beauty to the landscape and even foliage around. This map feels a lot greener than most other Fallout games. So this video is very much so my first impressions on this new Fallout game, and they aren't all positive. One of the negatives to stick out to me was how fetch questy some of the early quests are. Like at one point, you're in a chain of doing random activities for 3 different people. Person 1 needs help from person 2, so you go to person 2 to get that help. But then person 2 also needs something from person 3, and then you have to go to person 3 to get some help. Thankfully, it isn't only that. There are definitely some other cool moments and definitely some more impactful moments during even some of the early on questing, but it does make me curious to see how extensive fetch quests are in this mod overall. We've seen these big quest numbers touted, but how many of those are genuinely meaningful and quite fun quests versus just fetch quests? To be clear, I genuinely don't know the answer yet. I haven't played enough of Fallout London to actually uncover that. Some of the voice work can be a bit moddy at times, for lack of a better word. It feels like it is voice work from a mod. It's still fine, definitely on the way high end for all of the mods out there. It's like one of those weird things where, honestly, the voice work is good relative to the vast majority of other mods out there, but so much of Fallout London just feels like a legitimate new Fallout game that some of the voice stuff just sounding okay does remind you that, oh yeah, this is a mod. So while I noticed it from time to time, I don't think it's going to be a major red flag, and I don't think it'll take you out of the overall experience. Because overall, this immediately plays like a Fallout game. I feel like I had this immense open world with tons of factions you can join, piss off, or betray. I really need to play more to uncover how long some of these things actually are, how much choice and consequence does Fallout London truly have, or even just how much fetch questing there is. But my first impressions are overall overwhelmingly positive. Playing Fallout London for several hours has been an absolute treat for me, and I'm going to be doing a lot more. You can expect a full review after I beat this mod relatively soon, so get subscribed for that. Although unfortunately, it seems like quite a few players out there are unable to have the experience that I'm having even at this point. As you can see online, tons of reports of players having issues of all kinds. And it's like these issues are coming at multiple stages. Some people can't even downgrade their original Fallout 4, some people can't install Fallout London, and some other people can get it all installed and downgraded, but then as soon as they start playing, things immediately start crashing or not working. And actually that last one includes me. I ran into a few issues getting this mod to work, but was able to resolve them fairly quickly, and one of the things I can say is once I was able to get in game and get everything installed, I had a bug-free experience. I had 0 crashes in my several hours with Fallout London, and I did a few things that may have helped that, so I'll explain what I did so hopefully you could have the same experience, because again, this is a ton of fun. Installing Fallout London is quite a bit more difficult than most other mods out there, and some of this isn't even the fault of the Fallout London team, as the first step to installing this is to downgrade your Fallout 4. This is due to the fact that Fallout 4 is currently broken and actually has been broken for months now. If you install a mod that edits NPCs' face gen data, your game will begin to stutter. This is a Bethesda issue. They introduced this issue with the next gen update for Fallout 4. So for Fallout London, this is an incredibly frustrating situation. They had to delay the mod because the next gen came out right around the time of the mod, but then they can't even use the next gen version, otherwise your game would just be stuttering from time to time. So instead, the first thing you have to do is downgrade Fallout 4 to install Fallout London so you could play without stutters. Or not, because technically there is an alternative path. If you are playing Fallout London on GOG as opposed to Steam, those are the two options right now, you don't have to downgrade, because the GOG version of Fallout 4 is simply the old version of Fallout 4 before the next gen update. And if you do want to just buy the game on GOG, hey, my affiliate link is down below. But for me, I went for a Steam install just to test things because I saw so many other people having issues. The way I was able to have the most success is just by doing a clean install of Fallout 4, downgrade Fallout 4 with Fallout London's downgrader, and then installing Fallout London and a few extra mods like Buff Out 4. Lots of users are getting stuck at the downgrading step as the Fallout London downgrader is giving them some errors. It also asks for your Steam login to downgrade, and many are uncomfortable providing that information to a mod. Although, to be fair, this is a thing. Other downgraders also require your Steam login. But if you're not comfortable with that, or if just in general the downgrader isn't working for you, you can alternatively use the manual downgrade method, or just use this simple Fallout 4 downgrader, which does not require a Steam login. I'll have a link to that down below as well. If you successfully make it past the downgrading step, which I was able to do first try just using the Fallout London downgrader, you then have to add Fallout London to your GOG account. This mod was literally too large for Nexus mods, so GOG agreed to distribute it and in turn not update their Fallout 4 copy so you could easily install Fallout London if you have Fallout 4 on GOG. After adding the mod to your account, simply download it somewhere on your computer, not to your Fallout 4 data folder, because after you finish installing Fallout London via GOG, a new Fallout London launcher will pop up, and this will allow you to choose your Fallout 4 install location and handle the rest of things for you. It's an automated installer, and hopefully from that point forward, you could just play the mod, but there's probably going to be another step because again, a lot of people are having issues. I personally ran into the very common issue of once I got all of this installed and working, and I tried to start a new game, I would just have a constant load screen. I would never be able to load into the game. You can fix this by renaming or deleting your Fallout 4 folder that's located in your My Documents folder on your computer, but be very careful with this. I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, just delete this folder, but mind you, this is where all of your save game data is stored. So if you have older Fallout 4 saves, don't delete this, just rename it like I do. But once you rename this folder, or delete it if you're the riskier type, simply install these two Fallout London INI files that you'd find on their Discord server in the solutions category. And from there, I was able to launch and play Fallout London flawlessly. I never ran into another issue experiencing this mod. But unfortunately, it definitely seems like I may be the minority on that front. Many other users are reporting having crashing problems in game. I just don't have that problem, and that may be because I downloaded Buff Out 4. This is a separate Fallout 4 mod. It's generally recommended for basically any playthrough, and even Fallout London themselves have an entire list of recommended mods, because yes, you could mod the mod as much as you want. So if you are having these crashing issues, I would recommend downloading and turning on Buff Out 4. They actually have installation instructions on this page. And overall, if you're having issues getting this mod to work, their Discord is a great resource right now. They have an entire channel dedicated to solutions to some of the most popular problems popping up, as well as just generally there are thousands of people in there, so somebody probably has the same problem as you and they've probably fixed it. So simply search around or even ask for yourself and hopefully you'll be able to experience this one because again, it's a lot of fun thus far. It is definitely unfortunate that so many players are unable to experience the mod, but honestly, this is kind of how I expected things to go. These large-scale mod releases tend to have technical problems, but hopefully the support is able to help many people resolve them. I do want to say another big thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Make sure to check out the game using my link or the QR code on screen. But otherwise, that is Fallout London. Get subscribed for my full review and even more Fallout 4 mod videos. But until then, check out this video on what is going on with the Fallout franchise overall right now.